This is the Amp Hour Podcast. Released June 18th, 2025. Episode 696. It works with option number 5.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
Same lame-ass intro, decade later, 14 years later.
15 years later this year.
Yeah.
Dave.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn, you get less for murder.
Yeah, you really do. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, you want to know what I hate?
No. Yes, sorry. I don't know what you hate, but I
No,
would like
you
to know
don't.
what you hate. Yes.
Well, it's
see you later.
not necessarily a hate. I find it amusing. Have a look at the Reddit. I just added this before the show, so I'm not sure if you've seen this yet, but it is the Useless Product of the Day award winner, and it's a multimeter.
Okay. Starting
Yep.
good. I mean, yeah.
I'll wait
Dave and a
until you pull up
multimeter is
the.
not
I'll
that-
wait until you pull up the image.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Here we go. Oh, my gosh. A wrist-worn multimeter.
It's a wrist multimeter
Oh, my God.
that
they're plugged-
has like
they're plugged
the
into
old
the-
school curly probes. Have you
Yeah.
ever had those curly probes?
No, they make me think of like a telephone receiver, like that kind of like
Yes,
expandable.
the old school telephone receiver. Yes, I can remember having like they used to be like. I'm not going to say they were big in the 80s, but I first got my first coiled multimeter probes back in the 80s. They sort of like came standard with various multimeters and stuff at the time because people thought that you didn't want. These
it-
long
so it didn't
leads hanging over your
tangled?
desk. Yeah,
Yeah,
it didn't
it
get
wouldn't
tangled.
get-
But
okay.
I found they get bloody tangled all the time.
Totally.
Have you ever,
Yeah. And it would catch up like hair and like it would catch
it's-
everything in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's but they were a thing back in the 80s, and I always
Okay.
found them just incredibly annoying. Anyway, it's a red, like sort of cheap looking PV. Like it's like $8. By the way,
Yeah,
I
like
think was the price.
The front light or the back light, it like looks like it's a single LED.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks like a toy. Okay. So
It is totally a toy, and it's like $8. And I wanted to buy one, but I couldn't find it. But one of the YouTubers, I forget who, has done an actual review of this thing. So it's a wristwatch multimeter, and it's got these long like standard curly, cheap ass curl like probes, but they're the curly to make them kind of small and not dangle around all the place. But what the hell are you going to do? Like, it's got no probe holders on the side of the wristband, right? So it's not like you can like clip
honestly,
the
it
probes
looks like you're gonna get electrocuted because
I
it's also
know,
they're
like-
plugging into like it looks like they're plugging into the outlet of a wall.
they're plugging
and
into the mains. It's
measuring
reading,
237 volts.
It
and
is.
It's on your wrist.
and it's Anyway, I'll try and find the original link video, which has a teardown as well, and it's
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
it's like Cat 1 kind of safety rating.
Not sure about putting that on a wrist. I gotta
Yeah,
say.
it's not, and it's got 2 buttons on it. But the other thing you may not have noticed yet is if you're using this, look at the angle the screen is facing.
Yeah, it's like away. Well, he's like holding it sideways.
He's
so it's
holding-
like he's holding
yeah.
it like you're reading the time on a watch, but then
Yes.
it would be 90 degrees.
It would be 90
counterclockwise.
degrees, so it's sort of like aligned with your arm instead of perpendicular to your arm, which would
Well, what if
you
you're
have
showing
arm-
your friend what the voltage is?
Oh,
Like,
of course. then
look how
it's
much,
fine.
Dave. Look how much I'm getting shocked right now. 237 volts worth.
Oh, I'm sure it's double
At
insulated.
500 hertz as well. Oh, maybe there's a dot in there actually.
Right.
Oh, there's a dot. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
50
There's
hertz.
a dot. 50
Okay.
hertz. Yeah.
Okay, so this person's obviously not America, despite him.
No,
plugging
they're in
next to
China,
a-
which uses the same.
American.
Oh, yes, it is an American outlet, isn't it? It's the
Yeah,
two pro.
totally
yeah.
is. Yeah,
Right. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah, I don't know.
like, what is the point?
Yes, this is a dumb product. I'm gonna pass.
It's just so
Do you,
stupid.
do you crawl like AliExpress and similar these days? Like do you
I want to do it for like a video, like I want to do like a mailbag where instead of people sending me stuff, I like go out and find like the really
yeah, that's like
dumbest,
Florin,
cringiest crap.
Florin does that from Bolt
Oh,
Log.
right.
He does that
Okay.
sometimes.
Oh,
And
yes,
then,
right.
Great
Yeah.
Scott does that too sometimes.
Yes, yeah, I think
Yeah.
Great Scott's done a couple of videos
Yeah.
on that.
Past
Hasn't he?
guests of the show, both of
Cheap,
them.
yes,
So
yeah,
yeah,
cheap.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there is something about a mailbag, and especially when
Yeah.
it's like, well, maybe it could be a good deal, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like
I'm guessing
it's
a lot of the
just so
time it ends
cringe.
up in the bottom of the bin.
Oh yeah, no, totally. As most of these things do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just So I thought about just like spending all day just trawling through AliExpress or Alibaba or whatever, but I couldn't find this product, and it's the CZ Dang K8 watch multimeter. It's just
Yeah.
oh my god, and as a lack of a bonus, it. Because that's what you get with a product like this. You get lack of
Yeah.
bonuses.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't even tell the time.
Oh, right.
So it's
well,
like a watch that doesn't even tell the time. And even if it did, as you said, like it'd be angled wrong. So
I don't-
you'd have to.
this definitely looks like a, like a generic, like off the shelf case, basically too. It's only got the two buttons.
Yeah,
it's probably like a medical
probably.
device type of thing.
Yeah,
like-
and they've repurposed
heart
it to
rate
go, we
or-
can put a multimeter in here and we'll sell
yeah, exactly.
5,000 of these things before people realize it's absolute garbage and they do like a single run and then it's gone. Like it's gone.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Never to be had again.
never to be made again. Unbelievable. So yeah, like I wanted to get one to do like a review of this thing, just ragging
Mm-hmm.
on it, but no, I couldn't seem to find it on AliExpress. So anyway, I have to look deeper.
Yeah.
But oh my god, it's like, are they that desperate that they'll just like?
Yeah, it is interesting with the motivation,
China, Is it the motivation? Is it so easy in China to just do like a run of like 5,000 of these things, like a 5,000 of anything, that they just go, oh, what might sell? What might we be able to sell for $8 or whatever it was? It's like, and multimeters, they're popular. And we'll just put it in a wristwatch, and you just don't care about the rest of the details.
Yeah, I think it's
just
that. Bunny wrote about that remix culture, in that Shenzhen
Right.
handbook thing. I think it's just that. It's a small changes over time, and there's probably something that looks kind of similar that had some success, and so, what if we made it a wristwatch or whatever?
Right. Yep.
I think it's very evolutionary in that kind of regard. So. Yeah.
Well, devolutionary. Because you're
Well, yeah,
not
sure, it's
evolving,
getting worse.
because you're not evolving the product.
there
you're
might
just
even be a-
de-evolving.
There might be a worse version of this, Dave. That's what I'm trying
Oh,
to say.
right. Okay, there could be a worse version.
A $7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Not 8
'cause
minute abs. 7 minute abs.
7 minute abs.
Yeah.
The abdoer.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, you just got off doing a different mailbag with actual things, it seems like. So anything of value that came through the actual mailbag?
A
couple days ago,
Did it?
it came
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I can't remember what was in it.
Well, I can tell you
yes.
from looking at your cover image, LED thing, a quantum diamond, logic
Oh,
gates,
the
and an
quantum
M.2
diamond.
NS.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting. Although, visually to look at, it was just kind of, red light comes on.
Hmm.
Like that's literally it. You turn it on and it glows red, And it reminds me of that scene from Rambo
You lost me.
3. Is it? No, yeah, you haven't seen the Rambo movies?
No, I've seen like one part of the first,
Oh,
part of the
really?
first one. Yeah.
You haven't seen the Rambo? Anyway,
I think it's just a time thing. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it came out like right in the right time for like teenage Dave. I'm sure.
yeah.
And
Totally.
I was too young.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
Or
Okay.
non-existent.
Well,
I'm not
anyway,
sure.
there's a scene in Rambo 3 where he's, prepping for this mission and everything. He's in Afghanistan, which
Mm-hmm.
the Afghanistan, they were the good guys back in the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
And so he was fighting with them. So he's like, and he has all this equipment that he's getting together for the mission or whatever, and the guy who's helping, the Afghan guy who's helping him, is going through his bag and he goes, "What is this?" And he snaps it and it turns blue, and he goes, "What does this do?" And Rambo says, "It turns blue." That's it. It's
it.
one of those chemical glow light things that turns blue, like he thought it did something high tech,
yeah.
important.
Oh, I
No,
see. Got it.
it just turned blue. So
It would have been like,
Yeah.
it turns blue. It turns blue.
Turns blue.
Blue. Turns blue.
anyway, that just popped into my head.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So it just turns red, but the actual, but there's actually a hand-selected diamond inside, and when you hit the diamond at the right angle or something with the right frequency light, or something like that, then it fluoresces. It's a quantum effect. So they're actually demonstrating a quantum effect, and this is used in schools to demonstrate how this quantum effect inside diamonds works. So, yeah, I don't know the physics of the quantum theory behind it or whatever, but yeah, it's kind of,
That
it's
is
kind of
cool.
cool.
Yeah, that
it's
is cool.
very interesting. They wanted to send in something that we hadn't seen before on the mailbag, and certainly we have not seen a quantum fluorescing diamond
Yeah.
before. So, you know.
I don't know if I've seen a quantum fluorescing anything.
Yeah, exactly. But it just turned red. So you turn on the battery and a little LED light, a little red
cool.
light glows, you know. But still, the quantum theory behind it is kind of cool.
Yeah,
So,
that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. Ah, boy.
That's great.
Anyway.
That's great. Yeah, last week, or I guess last episode, we were talking. I was talking with Sam Aldaher about educational stuff, and just like the RF visualizations he does, and just it still stuck with me.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah.
I mean, just how impactful it can be to have something like that. Like just like the visual cue. So like the diamond having like a red light that like just.
Yeah.
That is so easy to like, for my mind at least, to grasp onto. And same with like this stuff we talked to Sam about, of just having like these visual elements. It's so critically important, I feel like, from an educational perspective.
Oh yeah, it's great. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those who don't know what we're talking about, he uses Blender to he's written, how does he do it, custom scripts or whatever, like a programming
tooling
thing,
Yep, that's
like
right,
it's a scripty thing you can plug
it's
into
like
Blender or whatever.
Python glue code,
it's
and then
actually
there's like
Python,
an old,
right? Okay.
Well, there's an old so there's like two things. One is the inductor simulator is actually an old MIT tool that he repurposed.
Oh, okay. Oh, right.
And then the
Interesting.
other one, I forget. I think it maybe is built on top of like OpenEMS, and it's been a couple weeks. So.
Got it. No, it's fine. Anyway, so he uses Blender, which is a visual 3D animating tool that does practically anything you can absolutely,
Oh man.
And
because of that episode,
and he shows the
I was
field
looking at-
lines.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he shows the field lines around inductors, PCB traces at frequencies and stuff like that. It's just, it's really great visual tool.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah. Fascinating.
I've been watching video. I was, when Sam was on, I was like looking at a bunch of Blender videos, and now like my YouTube feed is just all like, "You want to learn Blender? Hey man, you want to learn some Blender?" It's like, "Yes, I do, but I don't have time."
I highly recommend the YouTube video, "The World's Best Blenderer," which is YouTuber Captain Disillusion giving a talk at the Blender conference. It's really
nice.
good.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
If you're a Captain fan.
Yeah, I am a fan.
Yes, Captain D.
Okay. Cool.
Captain
Yeah, I'll check
Disillusion.
that out.
Yeah. Somebody just did a studio tour of his. I actually tweeted that
That's right.
last week. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Gerald Undone. Man, that's like one of my favorite YouTube
Gerald
channels.
Undone. I just sort of like discovered him, and he does tours of all these different.
He's great. Yeah, he's a. You got to be careful with, like how I've talked in the past about, like, don't watch YouTube like camera review tutorials.
Yes, I know. Yeah,
channels.
he does. I noticed camera
Gerald is
review tutorials.
Yeah, like
Yep.
he'll get so deep
Yep.
on like you're like,
Well,
of course I need a Sony A7S4 or whatever. I'm just like, I don't actually need this.
I kind of just got sucked into that, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
I
Oh,
just
Dave.
upgraded my
That's
field
expensive.
Sony camera. Hasn't been delivered yet. I think I've been diddled. I ordered the bloody thing, and I actually did watch Gerald Undone's review on the new Sony ZV-10 or Mark II or whatever it is. So I ordered that because it uses the replaceable lenses. So I want to use the replaceable lenses in my field kit. So I've actually
there it
ordered
goes.
one of those Canyon. Yeah.
Dave
I
just
got
went
sucked
broke,
in.
guys.
Yep. I got absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I haven't had a new camera for donkey's years now.
Yeah.
And so I thought I'd upgrade my field kit. But it's been like I've actually been away, but it's been like 2 weeks and they haven't even shipped it yet. So I think I'm going to have to get onto them today. So something, I think I've been diddled.
This could be.
Yeah.
Could be. All right.
Don't know what's going on.
Yeah, so just people listening, if you just go in with open eyes, if you go watch camera reviews, like, oh, I need to know the specs of like a camera sensor, whatever, and then you're like 10 videos deep and be like, you're comparing like, oh, do I want a $4,500 camera body or like a
Right.
$3,500 camera body? The answer is neither. I have no need for this. It sits as a webcam. He says as he looks into his expensive webcam. So you just keep it in mind. All right.
Right.
You've been warned. I can give all kinds of channels. I got them all.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Oh, it's so bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, psycho.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Are you planning to travel with camera gear sometime soon?
No, not really.
No?
I just thought, I'd upgrade my
Got
kit
it, got it.
because I can't change the lens on the kit one I've
see.
got. So
Yeah.
Whereas I could put my wide angle lens on the one because I've actually got a Sony wide angle lens,
Yeah.
so I can
Yeah,
put the wide angle lens on it. So
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, I've been in the world of making like YouTube Shorts lately, and lots of contenty type things. Now that I'm a full time, I have my full time video editing rig. I now use that as my daily computer as well, and
Right.
yeah, lots of video and stuff like that. But I don't use anything. I just use a phone. It's just you don't need a fancy camera for it, but you could use a fancy camera for it.
Yes. Yes, you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, it's all about getting stuff off a camera as fast as you can, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's only so much you can do with a shoe phone, though. I mean, it's okay. It has the different lenses on it. You can select the wide angle lens, and then you can, while you're actually filming, you can go to the regular lens or zoom lens or whatever. But and then the audio is not that great, and it's like, the quality's not that great. And well, it's fine if you're outdoors and stuff like that, and you've got tons of light. But if you're in a
lots
low
of
light, environment or something like that, nah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty how you doing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you got to think about light and stuff like that. So,
But the problem is, right, is that you can buy $5,000 worth of Sony camera gear or like the best lenses and everything else, and people will still complain because the image stabilization in it is nowhere as good as a cheap ass DJI GoPro-y clone,
yeah,
right?
yeah, right.
And it's like, just or your phone's actually better. Your phone has better image stabilization, but people don't realize that the image quality is actually kind of meh if you actually really compare it, you know. But yeah, it's more stable. Okay, they've nailed the image stabilization settings and stuff like that. Whereas you buy a really high-end camera, and even though you've got optical image stabilization inside the Sony lens, it's still nowhere near as good as the software that they do inside the freaking GoPro.
right, exactly.
Or whatever, because they just they've just optimized that for for these adventure sports things and stuff like that. So which is crazy.
Yeah, right, exactly. They're like averaging like tons and tons of bins of sensor bits and stuff like that. And
Yep.
yeah.
Have you seen my downhill mountain biking video?
No, I don't think so.
I will show it to you right now, and I'll show you what these bloody things are capable of, because this is just insane, right? Here you go. I'll send you the link right now so you can see it. This is mountain biking at Mount Kosciuszko. And hang on. Yep, there it is. You should be able to see it now. And just watch that at any time point, and especially when I'm like going over the bumps and everything like that. And you'll notice how smooth the damn thing is. It's insanely good. And you will realize that, and the amazing thing is I just I actually forgot the GoPro mount for the bike, right?
So like a shock mount or something like that.
Yeah, just any sort of mount. So what I had is I just gaffer taped it to the handlebars, right?
Nice.
Just gaffer taped it to the handlebars, so it's like it's getting the massive vibrations on the handlebars, and I'm using the internal mic, and even the audio's great on it. Like the audio actually took it. You can actually hear my commentary. I was amazed when I got back from the ride and had a look at the footage. I'm going to go, this footage is going to be like, it's going to be hopeless, right? I won't be able to hear anything because there'll be constant shocks and everything. No, the audio came through crystal clear, and the video was smooth as silk.
Yeah, this is very smooth. That's
it
wild.
was just,
Have you ever seen it where they have accelerometer data from something else, and then they don't have it internal to the camera? So like they'll do this for a lot of like first person video out of a drone, and they won't have they won't. Yeah,
one of my Sony cameras do that.
Oh really? Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I've got a little tiny thing which I haven't used for donkey's years. One of those little Sony Action Cam thing, and it actually it records the gyroscopic information
right.
as a separate file, and then you can load that, but you can only load that into the Sony software, and Sony have this destabilizing software, which is really amazing when they combine the image with the actual separate file.
Stabilizing software, maybe not destabilizing software.
Oh, sorry. Did I say what?
Destabilizing software is called Twitter, Dave.
Right. Oh, God.
Yeah.
And and it works really amazingly. But you've got to have the separate
really cool.
gyroscopic, file or whatever.
Yeah.
So, so as you can see in the video, it just looks absolutely like smooth as silk. It's fantastic, and the audio is absolutely amazing. But the image quality is kind of actually it's pretty good, right? But if you compared it with a proper, big camera, big expensive lens
huge
system
sensor.
and everything, there's going to be a lot of difference. But it's absolutely amazing, this 4K footage with this GoPro just stuck on the bloody handlebars.
What else do you need, man?
It's just
Look how much money you just wasted on this new camera.
I know, on this new camera. Yeah, should just carry around the bloody GoPro.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Good, I guess.
Yeah.
Doesn't even watch videos anymore, anyways.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's all in podcasts. That's where it is. Everyone's listening
it's all
to
podcasts.
shit. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yes.
right,
Everyone's starting a podcast these days. We're
Yeah.
ahead of the curve there.
Yeah.
Fortune and glory, kid. Fortune and glory.
That's right, man. That's right.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to have to rant about possible bad product design.
Again?
Yes.
That's how we started?
This is actually some sort of bad implementation of the actual design. Something's going on here, right? This is my solar inverter. This is my hybrid battery DI solar inverter, right? Yeah, I know it's the cheapest China brand, DI or whatever, but they're extremely popular, right? Anyway, now I've just changed my plan. I just changed my energy plan.
Is this the one that burnt up? Didn't you have one that burned up?
Burnt up.
Didn't you have like a protection circuit that burnt up or something like that? The inverter on the inverter or somewhere else? I'm just trying to remember what we've heard about your.
No, I had a failed N-phase micro inverter.
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Anyway, so this is my DI hybrid inverter, and my DC isolator did catch on fire. Well, it didn't catch on fire. It kind of melted.
Okay, maybe that's what it was.
Maybe that's what you're thinking of. Yeah. So my DI hybrid inverter, I've just changed my plan, right? Energy plan. I now get 3 hours free power every day during a time window, right?
Yeah.
So I can use as much energy as I want, right? So I can charge my EV and I can charge my storage battery, even if there's no solar or whatever. I can charge at the maximum rate into my battery so it lasts all night, right? So in theory, regardless of the season, regardless of the weather, I should have a full battery at the every single day, and it should last all night. So I should be sweet now, right?
Can you explain the free? What is the free from
power.
The power company? Or
yes, free from the power company. Free from the power company.
And why is that?
3 hour window every day. It's because in Australia here we've got so much solar that our wholesale energy prices go negative during the day.
Right.
They actually go,
this is free. So you're generating some amount from your panels, and then there's additional that you're pulling in.
There's additional which I can pull from the grid for a 3 hour window every day.
Got it. So like the sunniest part of the day where the power prices go negative or whatever,
exactly.
you're able to. Okay.
Yeah, I'm able to pull.
I'm
that.
on board now. I got it.
Yep. Yeah. And then but there's only one company in Australia that actually offers this, right? And I think they're doing it like on average they realize they're going to make money, right? So on a good day when there's lots of solar and everything, the energy utilities will be paying them, my energy provider, to take the power, right? So they're right. So, but on a bad day, they'll be paying them for that power, right? But they've probably crunched the numbers that on average they're going to make a profit, and they're selling it to me for zero cost, whereas they might be getting 12 cents or something for it.
Which is the good day for them? Which is the bad day for them in terms of sunshine? So super sunny days are good days?
Sunny days, yes, they will be earning money even though they're giving me the power for free.
I see.
Yep.
So they're like basically lining up loads.
They're lining up loads, yes. They can guarantee we've got X number of customers. We can now get them to turn their loads on during this time window, and therefore,
Got it. Yeah. So this is almost
you
like
will
how
pay us for that. Yeah.
The program I'm signing up for is like they give me a flat rate over the month.
Yes.
But then they have options to turn on the load, or sorry, they have options.
They can source the energy from your battery when they need to.
At the dip times, right?
Yes.
So it's like the inverse of that. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So mine's a bit dumber than that. It's only a fixed 3-hour window every day.
Sure.
Right.
Right.
So anyway, I thought, oh great, okay, my inverter has a timer on it, right? So I can set it to charge the battery at the maximum rate, regardless of what the solar's doing during that time window. Fantastic, right? So I set it all up. It's a pain in the ass to get working, but I got it working. And then the next day I looked and I went, oh, I didn't set the time properly. I didn't set the clock properly. So I went and changed the clock, and sure enough, it turned on at the right time. And then I check it the next day and I'm going, the time's not right. It's like lost like 10 minutes.
Oh no.
What's going on? And yeah, it seems to be losing like 10 minutes a day. Something which, of course, adds up if you're, over a week or whatever. Yeah. Boom, I'm suddenly out by an hour, and it's currently an hour and a bit behind the internal clock. And I can't change it remotely via my Solar Assistant software, which I'm staring at right now. I can't change. I've got to change it on the front panel. I don't have control over the system date time. So I like, what the hell's going on? This thing's losing 10 minutes a day. Like, it couldn't be like a thermal thing, right? It's not
it could be like the real-time clock battery. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the real-time clock battery is dead, and then it's depending on an RC circuit. But even 10 minutes off of any modern circuit is bad.
It is bad. You can get RC that's better than that. It's more accurate than that. Like a trimmed RC, internal oscillator kind of thing, which is better.
And is this like networked or not networked?
It is not networked. It's only serial output to my Solar Assistant software. So my Solar Assistant can send it commands and stuff. Unfortunately, setting time and date is not one of them. So it is not networked.
What are the available commands?
Oh, I can go into the configuration here, and I can set the work mode timers. I can set a ton of stuff. I can set the charge rates. I can set whether or not it discharges during certain time. I can change all the timers and everything. I can do that right in front of me right now.
Yeah.
But I can't change the system date time.
It's called a Solar Assistant? That's like Home Assistant. That's your Home Assistant.
It's like Home Assistant, except it's called Solar Assistant.
So could that just like kind of slave the inverter to the Home Assistant, and then
unfortunately, no, it doesn't. Really? It does everything else but the system date time on the inverter.
No. I don't mean setting the time from there. I mean actually just so like Solar Assistant knows it's 3 p.m.
Oh, okay, yes. Solar Assistant has the correct time. I've tried to do that. It does have its own timers, but I couldn't get it to work. So I have to use the internal DI timers, which rely on the internal system date time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I have no idea. So I thought maybe,
really weird,
maybe it's running from the mains, right? Maybe it's getting its like clock reference from the main.
Hertz.
Yeah, I set it to 60 hertz instead of 50 hertz, right? But I checked, no, it's 50 hertz. And then I checked, I'm staring at the chart right now, and I get these frequency dips during the day. There's like, just today, there's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 frequency dips.
Really?
Yeah.
How significant?
Like a drop from 50 down to like 36 hertz or something like that. I'll send you a screenshot. Yeah. So very briefly. Yeah. But I don't know what's going on.
That's a discontinuity probably from just like them switching power.
Yeah.
I mean, like that amount of. I mean, I think they start taking action when it's like tenth of a hertz off, sort of thing.
Right.
At least.
I just sent you an image capture of the grid frequency there, and it's dropped out. You can see it's dropped out like several times today. It's sitting at 50, and then it just hiccups.
Those are blips, yeah.
Like, I don't know.
That's got to be some kind of weird discontinuity. That's just.
Yeah. It's like it's turned off for a second or two because there's some pulse load or something. I don't know.
Right.
Something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
So and it's not something that I can easily troubleshoot. It's not like I can tear it off the wall and get it on my bench and start measuring stuff. It's like how much work it is to get that damn thing off the wall and disconnect.
Can you so like when you talk to it over serial, can you ask it what time it is? Like, does it report that?
Well, it knows. It can read the time. So it's my Solar Assistant is telling me what the inverter time is, but unfortunately it doesn't let me set it. So I can
Doesn't let you
see
set
what
it,
the
right.
time is.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
It just
So you could
let me set it.
you could potentially chart out of Solar Assistant. You could basically track. You could have it ping every minute or 10 minutes and say what is your latest time, and then you could start to see when drifts happen.
Potentially, so I could
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know how you'd script it to do that,
Yeah.
but in theory it's
I bet
possible.
the dummy
yes.
box knows. I've been leaning on the dummy box a lot lately, Dave. That's
What
my
is the dummy box?
the dummy box is the LLMs. I'm just giving him the general
Oh,
name dummy
right,
box
okay.
because I feel like a dummy. They're often dumb.
I've already
you know.
asked Grok.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
and
a
it
lot of-
said, "Oh, maybe you can change the time," but it doesn't know because it doesn't have any data.
No. I would say if there was a scripting setup, that would be
Oh,
like
if there was
good
a scripting
application for
setup.
that.
Well,
Yeah.
because it's a web page, you could use any sort of scripting thing to do it. You could you could just ping the web page and then pull the date and time off the web page, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a script kiddie, so yep.
Well, if you don't mind me, I'd like to come back to solar stuff, but
Yep.
I have something that is kind of tangentially relevant here. I just spent Friday and the weekend and a little bit of today on a hack project, and
Yes.
it was pretty cool actually. So I used the dummy box a little bit. I used the dummy box a little bit on the Zephyr side of things. So I built this board. I don't know, a year ago now, probably more, year and a half ago. It was the cellular board, the white one that I think I showed you, the white.
Oh,
white
right.
TV. Yeah, it's got click headers, whatever. It's solar,
Yep.
it's
Yeah, I
cellular
remember
board. It's got ESP32 for Wi-Fi offload, that sort of thing. So that's
Probably
like
obsolete now, right?
Yeah, right.
yeah,
it's-
right.
I mean, it's getting up there. Yeah, but it's the part family has already moved on, but it still works great. And,
The Internet of Things obsolescence guarantee.
yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it works with Goliath, obviously. That's the company I work for.
Yes.
And I had this thing in my head from like 3 or 4 years ago. We used to have this feature called Remote Shell, and it only worked on Espressif boards back in the day. But it would be like on the console, so like you could like talk to a device over this sort of thing, and it just didn't really work for that many things. But it's been stuck in my head for about 4 years.
You're right.
And so Hack Day rolled around, which we do quarterly, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. Me and the dummy box, we're gonna get this thing done. And so on Friday, I spent all day basically rewriting the back end for the shell. I think we've talked about shells here before.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like Zephyr has a lot of like built-in shells for like things like talking I2C. You can do like an I2C scan. You can talk to sensors. You can toggle GPIOs. All the different things. Basically, any feature that's in Zephyr usually has a shell associated with it. You can turn on with a symbol, and then you can compile it in. And that's what I do that all the time, and I talked it over UART. And it's got these other interfaces too. It's got RTT, which is like the JLink output. But there's a way to write a custom backend, and so that's what I was doing. And so I wrote a custom backend, me, quote unquote me,
with
and there was a lot of direction. Just to be clear, there was a lot of direction.
It was very vibey. It was very vibey.
It was not as vibey as some things coming later, but
okay, right.
yeah, there was some vibing. But so it was basically a lot of like reading and just interacting with like directing the dummy box a little bit, but also like writing my own code in there and writing some of the parts that I knew because I've used our SDK a whole bunch. Anyways, got this thing working, and basically then when was it? I guess it was. So then worked on it a little bit over the weekend as well. Then Sunday night, finally got it to the point where I needed to, and then the vibing started. Okay, so now I have a cellular device talking back over cellular to Goliath, and then there's this thing called remote procedure call. And so from there, basically, I wrote a remote procedure call that could accept a command called remote shell, and then I could type in the shell command, and then it would spit it back out as a return to the remote procedure call. So basically now the internet was my shell, right? So it's called remote shell. And so now that's when I kicked it on, and I was able to. Then I started vibing, and so then I basically just had it write like a JavaScript front end, and then it's just like talking to the remote shell, basically like an API call for this remote shell command now, and I'm able to like. So now I have a what looks like a terminal input. and it looks like it's talking to a shell like you would over UART normally, but it's actually doing it all over the internet. So like through the internet, over cellular down to this device, and back up again. And so if you wanted to go and like query your serial, you could use like the serial output from it, or you could toggle GPIO, that sort of thing. That's what I was pattern matching pretty hard there. Don't get me wrong, but like that's what I was thinking about, and like being able to like troubleshoot. And so like instead of you then having what's it called, the Solar Assistant, you could have something like this that then toggles bits and does serial readbacks and stuff like that. So yeah, so that was my weekend.
Groovy.
Yeah, it's cool, and it looks legit, man. Like here, let me send you a photo.
Okay.
Yeah, how do I do this? Oh, I haven't used Google Chat in a while. Here we go.
Control paste.
Yeah, here we go. I even got like colors working and like line endings and all that stuff. It looks legit, like quite legit.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah. So it's all. Oh, actually, there's even a web page for it, but it wouldn't work for you. But it's.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think but setting up that sort of thing, and then using the dummy box, you could use the dummy box in the same way to. I think it's the same thing. It's like if you just ask Grok or whatever your flavor of dummy box is, you just say, how does Solar Assistant work? Get Solar Assistant to talk to this thing over serial. I don't think that's going to do it, right? You're going to have to dig in.
Well, no, I have to drill down. No, I've only done a top level thing, and it didn't know what model DI. I'd have to put in the exact model number.
Right. And if they don't know the latest either, then you're going to have to you got to kind of connect the dots at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, totally.
Same kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh no, it's quite a lot recently. I've used I've used Grok or whatever to, ask something, and then can something do this, and then it goes, oh yes it can, and then I go, I think you're lying to me, and sure enough it's lying to me. It's just assuming it can do it, rather than actually knowing. Yes. Oh, right. Yes, of course it is. But it was actually genuine today when I actually asked about this problem, a DI solar inverter and a Solar Assistant, blah, blah, blah. Can it do it? It actually admitted that it didn't know, but it assumes it can do it because it can get all this other information. Therefore, why wouldn't time and date be, a thing you could set? So,
right.
Yeah. But it was actually honest this time, which is it's getting better.
Yes.
But
I have been trying out different dummy boxes, like I said, as well, and I've tried out the Claude 3.7 and 4 API, and then this past weekend was Gemini 2.5.
Right.
They're fine.
Got it. No, I just stick to Grok because I always have the X window open, so it's
sure.
It's just the most convenient thing.
No, I know. I use this in Klein, which is like a VS Code kind of assistant sort of thing.
If I was doing something serious, like if I was designing a project and I was going to use it all day, then I would research to find which one's going to give me the best result and then use it extensively, kind of thing. But
yeah, I think the thing that's interesting about it, so we had this hack day, and I felt empowered even though I didn't have like I just feel like sometimes it's just getting out of your own way, like I've written a decent amount of Zephyr code at this point. Like I'm not great at it, but often the thing that's getting in my way is still my dumb brain. It's still like,
of course.
Oh yeah, I could. I'm not the type of person that does this. But then you read the docs and you read the, you find examples and you modify examples. And it's just like you just gotta just push yourself over that edge. And the people that are good at it, they're the ones who are like, I will figure it out. That mindset of that growth mindset of I am the type of person that figures stuff out. Yeah. That is an important step, and as much as I hate to admit it, this has improved that for me because I can always go ask the dummy box if I need to.
Exactly.
So it's psychological games, I guess, as well. But don't get me wrong, there was a lot of Chris in this. So none of the JavaScript. I take no responsibility for the JavaScript stuff. That's
Got it.
Ridiculous.
I think it's always interesting when I look back on old code, especially assembler code I've done. Right, I look back on old assembly code, and I can't make heads or tails of it. And I went, shit, I actually wrote this.
Yeah,
it's like,
one, there's the stranger kind of aspect to it, who wrote this thing.
But
then it's also you realize it's you, and you're like, oh, I wrote this thing. I was very capable. Yeah,
I was very capable at one point. Yes,
right. Exactly. Well, I think the other thing too is that the kind of the rose-colored glasses of time too. You don't. You can remember. You can look at the code and you can see that it was written by you,
Yeah.
but you don't have that like condensed experience of like banging your head on the desk. Like you probably did, right? I mean, like
Yeah,
you knew some
maybe,
of it,
yeah.
but like everybody bangs their head on the desk at
Yeah,
some
yeah,
point. It's just like,
right.
and it's hard to actually, at least for
Yep.
me, I have hard time with recall for that. I look at
Mm-hmm.
my old code and I'm like, oh, look how smart I was, and it's not like, oh, look how many hours I spent on this. It's very mediocre
and
code.
then there's some, I comment a reasonable amount. I think I'm a decent commenter. But not every line of my assembly code is going to get comments.
Sure.
Saying what it does, because it was at the time it was just so obvious what that line of code did. Yet now I look,
see. Yeah.
set bank 01. Like what?
Yeah, right.
Like why?
right.
Why did I do that? I don't know. Like
Yeah.
it was just
Yeah,
it's
there's a
crazy.
lesson in there of just being kind to your future self, anyways, right? Like
right.
just
Yeah.
as a commenter, like I still haven't
And
learned that
then
one.
there's the dumb comments, like as I said, like set bank 0, like, and then the comment will be set bank 0, and it won't explain why you set bank 0. It's just like, yeah, I can see that the command is set bank 0. Why is the comment just duplicating that same information?
Yeah.
It doesn't tell me anything useful.
Right.
You know?
Well, and then
And
the
it's like,
classics, fix this later.
right.
To
yeah.
do. This probably
Tweak
won't work.
value,
I don't know
tweak
why this
value.
works.
It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
fudge
Yeah.
factor,
Fudge factor, magic number. Yeah, a lot of classics in there. Yeah.
Yep.
Works when I
my.
use the number 5.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Bloody comments. Yeah. Good and
Anyways,
bad.
I think, you and I are, I'd say hardware first. And
Yes, we are hardware first. Yes, we are.
But I
hardware
think you should feel empowered to try more things. That's what I'm trying to
Oh
say.
yes, no, it's a time thing. It's
Totally.
it's a
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I think that's
time
another-
and commitment thing.
That's another
I
key
can't
piece
just
is that,
do
like-
an hour here and an hour there on a project. No, I've got to
Yeah.
like spend the whole week on it. I can't.
Totally.
Can't just
Yep.
do a bit here and bit there. It never works.
I mean, I've been trying to
So-
shake. I mean, I did it this week. I'm just trying to shake it off, so I just stop thinking about it too. At this
Right.
point where it's like,
Yep.
especially with like the kind of ticky tacky, like of I'm just directing it to move, like spacing and just trying to
Yeah.
like tweak little things here and there. It's
Yep.
just like, Chris, just stop, man. Just it's over. Just commit it. Go to bed. Like,
And it's
yeah.
totally different when
It's
you
tough.
when you've got a job. You've actually got
Totally, yeah.
an actual day job. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
going to spend 8 hours on this today.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you can get into the groove and you can get stuff done.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when it's not
Yeah,
your job and you've
context
got
switch.
other
Yep.
things, it's like, yeah, you just context switching, 20 times a day, and it's like, nothing
Yeah.
ever gets done. So
Yeah, it's true.
know.
It's true.
yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's just the trap you fall into. So
Yep. Yep.
when you become a YouTuber.
A YouTuber, yeah, of course. Well, back to the solar test stuff real quick. I am. By the time you and I next record, I will be solar powered myself. I have a date set, and it's about a week and a half from now.
Right,
So,
when you're getting your full system with the battery and everything.
with battery and everything.
How
Yep.
big's your battery?
It's a 12.5 kilowatt hour.
12.5 kilowatt hours, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That
maybe
won't be
13.
enough. Yeah, like I thought, like a single, so that's equivalent to a single power wall, for example, for those playing along at home.
It is.
Oh,
Powerwall,
it literally is a
The
power
Powerwall
wall.
3, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah. And so I thought that was a lot. But now that I've got my battery's 25 kilowatt hours,
Yeah, I mean,
right? And it's
my
still not
electric-
enough for
my
bad
electric
days.
car is
you know?
58 kilowatt
Yeah,
hours.
I
It's just like, okay,
mine's
yeah.
actually 38. Yeah,
Yeah,
mine's
right.
an older one, but yeah,
Right.
it's 38
Right, exactly.
kilowatt.
But I think
And-
that's just like its relative
Yeah.
amounts of juice. Like
Yeah.
you power your whole house on
No,
a car, a
it's-
single car.
it's
like,
crazy.
Okay.
And the Peter, who from Australian Renewable Energy Lab, I think it's called, who designed and manufactured my battery, and installed it for me,
Yep.
and helped install it. Is that he just contacted me last week, and he goes, this new government subsidy, because our government just won their election, and one of their election promises was $4 billion for home batteries. Right?
Yeah, we talked about that last time.
Oh yeah, we did. And he says, look, they're almost free. There's
Yeah, I mean, you gotta upgrade, man. Come on.
It's like,
It's
yeah,
good.
and he's telling me you should install a 75 kilowatt hour home battery.
Wow,
And it's
okay,
oh
yeah.
my god. It's like,
Yeah, that's
It's insane.
I mean, that's when
maybe
you gotta,
I might
you gotta
expand
really
it to, you know.
have him
Yeah.
sit down with the wife, and he can explain it to her.
Yeah,
of
right.
course,
He
you know.
can explain it
It's
to
not
her.
me,
Yeah.
darling. It's Peter who says
The
be
Peter's
irresponsible
the problem.
not to.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have a problem.
Yeah, the battery's almost free. In fact, if you buy a cheap Chinese, you know, no name brand
Yeah.
battery, it's basically free.
Right,
Even
right.
with installation, maybe.
Just say,
Anyway, we'll see what
So
happens.
is the new
but-
house once your old one burns down.
Right, yeah, exactly. So yeah, so I can get the battery for like $150 per kilowatt hour or something, like with this
Oh, is that
with this government rebate. So it's like super cheap, but that doesn't include the installation. And,
Sure.
you know,
What's
all
the
that.
what's the normal rate? I
Oh,
don't actually know.
it'd be
the amount of it.
$2,000 per battery. Sorry,
Per kilowatt hour.
it'd be $2,000 for a 5 kilowatt hour battery. So
$4.
yeah.
So 400 per.
So and now
versus
it's like $100 per kilowatt hour or something crazy. It's
Okay.
like
Wow.
it's like it's really cheap with this government rebate. Although I'm paying for it, my kids are paying for it. You know, the future of my kids with the tax bloody.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyway, but I might expand it, but I've got to move the thing outside because it's taking up too much space in the garage. We're going to have to move the entire battery system outside.
Then you gotta worry about spiders.
And then you got to worry. Well, you got to worry about rain on your battery, so you got to get an outdoor
No,
rated
Dave.
rack. You know,
No, Dave.
no,
you gotta
batteries are
worry about
nothing. No,
spiders.
spiders are nothing burgers. Nothing burgers.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I just started reading a book that's all about space spiders, and it is fantastic. I love it.
Right.
Adrian Tchaikovsky, Children of Time. It is
Right.
great. Go back
Okay.
to that. Yeah. All right. So 75
book of the
kilowatts. So
week. Yep.
so like, what is your usage? Like, what could you? How many?
I could use the entire 25 kilowatt hour battery in a day,
Okay.
depending on what I'm doing. Like if you've got a bad day and you've got to, you have to put your washing machine on, you've got to put your dryer on because
Yeah, that's a big one.
because they aren't going to dry out on the clothesline, right? With the free solar energy from the sun, so that's not going to work. So you got to put your dryer on. Then you've got your cooktop oven thing, which choose, and then you might turn your oven on for dinner and for an hour or something because you're cooking dinner or something, and it can easily. Oh, and you might have to emergency charge your EV because you forgot to charge it the day before and you desperately need to go somewhere tomorrow. So I could easily chew through my battery in a day. So. Yep.
So you're saying if I stay home and I don't eat anything, and I sit in my dirty clothes, I'm fine. Okay.
Yeah, you're fine. I use about if we're so frugal and we don't do much at night, then it takes maybe 20-25% of the battery, something like that. So that's just general, lights and power and maybe a bit of the stove and things like that, and the fridges. So
Yeah, I started looking at what is it called? Like basically per line measurement systems as well. So like current clamps on different lines in like your, I know our breaker boxes are
I've
very
got
different.
that. Yes, I've got
you
my
do? Okay.
solar analytics system
Okay.
is like that. My box has like a dozen current clamps in it.
It does. Okay. Yeah. I've
Yeah,
been
no,
looking
it's
into
crazy.
that sort of thing.
Yep.
I've never thought of doing it before, but now
It's
it's like
kind of handy. Yeah, it's kind
totally,
of handy.
yeah.
Yeah, because I've got, have you seen the output from mine?
maybe I don't remember. Yeah.
I'll send it to you today. I'll send
Yeah.
it to here's my usage right now today, my energy usage, and it breaks down all the different things that I've got hooked up to it. Boom, there it is. You have it, I think. Yes.
Yep.
There you go. And you can see that our pool turned on. You can see that our hot water system turned on. No aircon today. We just didn't need the aircon. But there was a brief EV. Oh, no, there was a brief aircon this morning for some reason. Although my labels are back to front. The other is actually the aircon, and the aircon is just nothing. So.
Oh, I see. I got it.
Yeah. So that orange graph there, that orange peak there early in the morning, that's an aircon switching on. So yeah, it's handy. You can just monitor all your different things.
Right.
Separately.
What I think, if I remember from your breaker box videos as well, like you have kind of fewer breakers overall compared to a US box. It feels like. I think I have like 20,
have you seen
25.
my new box? Have you seen my new upgrade?
I saw it at the
I've now
beginning
got
of the video.
18 breakers, dude.
Oh, okay.
I've got 18
that's
of them.
different. Yeah, that's different.
So that's a lot. But then
I was
again, I've
thinking of
got
your old
2
one.
solar systems, and I've got separate hot water systems and pool and all sorts of things now. So
Right.
yep.
Okay. Well, anyways,
Yeah.
so I'm thinking about doing it. And what is this? This is the solar system that does this monitoring?
This is the solar analytics system, which is an Australian one. So I'm sure there's ones in the US. Well, you could use this
there
system
are.
if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
wanted to. But there's
No, I don't
there's
want to. I
tons of
mean,
options.
I was looking at Open Energy Monitor, which is kind of an open
Oh
source. built on
yeah,
Raspberry
it's an
Pi.
open version of it. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then there was something View, Emporia View.
Right. I'm sure there's
then-
a dozen.
Yeah,
I'd
and
be
then
surprised.
I also saw recommendations for that Sense. Joe, what was his name? One of our past guests is Joe. I can't remember his last name. Sorry, Joe. He worked there. But it was
okay.
basically like it was like a ADC that kind of just listens on the main panel input, like the 200 amp input,
Yeah.
and then it watches for signatures and it says, oh, that's a fridge.
okay.
kicking on.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's not
fire.
as good. Yeah, that's not as.
I'm not as interested in that.
Yep. Yeah.
But it's cheaper. It's a lot cheaper. And
Oh
easier.
yeah.
That's
Of
the nice
course.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, you want the individual current clamps. It's just great.
Yeah.
You can just monitor, see how often you use stuff, how much standby power if your fridge is on a different circuit, you can monitor how much your fridge takes and
Exactly.
stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Joe Bamberg. Come on, Chris. Jeez.
So how many circuits does your newish? Because your house is pretty new, right?
Yeah,
It's, what is it?
2018. 2018.
Yeah, right. Very new. So how many circuits does your house have?
A lot. I have a 200 amp panel, which higher current is
Yep.
we have lower voltage here.
Yes, right. I was
and
going to say
think
because
I
mine's
have-
only 60 amp. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have. I think they're 20. It's at least a 20 breakout panel thing, but some of them are doubles. Remember in the U.S. So like when
Doubles?
you need, so it's like a zigzag configuration, right? And because it's 2-phase, and so most breakers are single phase.
Oh right.
So
Okay.
like a wall.
Yes.
So like in my office
with
right
us.
now,
Yep.
I have plugs in the wall,
Yep.
and those are on 1 phase.
Right.
But then the stove
That's right.
and the dryer, those are all 2-phase, right? So
You
that's
weird
the
Yanks. For those who think,
split phase. Yep.
for those who think that you're a 110 volt country, you're not. You're actually 220. There's 220 volts coming into your house. It's just that you guys split it weirdly at your fuse box, and then you run it like a
it's
split
110
phase.
on the
It's a
110 on the
split
wall,
thing.
man. It's one.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you stick your fingers in, you get a
Weird.
little 110 zappy, zap. So, yes, it is weird, and
Yes,
you know,
very strange.
yeah. You know, everything's different, Dave. It's just
Right.
different. Different can be beautiful. You know.
All right. Yeah. But no, like through the house, we've only got like our house. When our house was built, there were only 2 circuits for the entire house.
Yeah, that's wild.
That was like,
Yeah.
that's for all the power points all over the house. And then, expansion over the years, we've got an extra one for the garage. The people we bought it from, they were going to, install it. They were going to convert the garage into another room, and so they installed another circuit there. And then when we expanded the house even more, we got another one for the back of the house, and, So
yeah.
we've slowly expanded that. But still, it was only like 2 circuits for the whole house.
That's
So,
wild.
Plus
Yeah.
lights. Yeah. There was two power point circuits, 2 light circuits, and a hot water circuit, and that was it. That was our entire house. So, yep.
Did they have like hot plates and stuff like that? Did they plugged into the power points in the kitchen or what?
Oh, sorry. Yes, there was an extra one for the hot plates. Yes. Sorry. Yes,
yeah.
there was. Yeah,
Okay.
because it's like 32 amps or something. It's like, very high power.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Oh, and there was one for the oven. There was one for the oven, one for the hot plate. So I'm just talking about
You're changing
the
your
PowerPoints.
story here, Dave. I gotta say.
I'm just talking about the PowerPoints, there were only 2 circuits for all the PowerPoints in there.
That's the thing that's interesting to me is that it is kind of ad hoc there. Like when you had your video about the,
totally add on.
yeah, the
It'd
fact that
be
it's
the
not
same
like,
thing in the
it's like-
US. If you
No.
expanded your house out, you would add on extra.
No, sorry.
Circuits?
Don't get me wrong. The ad hoc nature. I didn't mean it as like a pejorative. I meant like ad hoc as in like it's not a standard form factor, right? The stamp metal of the U.S. is what I'm used to. That's like what I expect.
Right. Okay.
And because it's hand wired and it's configurable, that's the piece that I meant as ad hoc. Sorry.
Right.
It's dumb. That's what I'm trying to notice.
Ours just uses a
different.
internal plastic. We can use those metal boxes if we wanted to.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, there's nothing stopping you. It's just a cost thing, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Totally.
Yep.
I got no dog in this race. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh
Yeah.
God. Yep. Anyway,
Solar. Yes. So I'm excited.
battery.
I'm excited.
Okay. Very good. Okay, so we can talk about that next time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But no, you'll find that power wall won't last you very long, even
No,
if the
yeah.
energy company don't steal any of it from you during the day. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll see. Maybe there's future build out, second batteries, whatever. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, we'll see. And yeah, who knows, in another couple of months. I think the rebate starts July here or something. So once that comes around, I'll start thinking about maybe doing it. And it's not something I can do myself either, because to get the new rebate, Peter's told me that there's a lot of official paperwork involved.
yeah.
And so it's not something you can do yourself. It's something that you have to have an approved
Hire
installer
out, yeah,
do, which is
Trying
registered
to
with the
stimulate
system,
the
blah,
economy
blah.
too, Dave. Come on.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, stimulate it with the funny money. Yep,
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, that's fine.
print it out of thin air. Yeah, magic, dude. It's just
Yeah. Get you some of that magic.
Oh boy. Anyway, so yeah, I might get a bigger one. I don't know. We'll see. But I've got to move the damn thing out because it's just taking up much room in the garage, and we're going to have to buy a new car shortly. Our old one is 15 years old. It's on its last legs.
Oh man, you got that car when the amp hour started, huh?
Yeah.
It is 1 amp hour
Before I
old.
had kids, yeah.
Yeah, right.
yeah, before I had kids, we got that car.
You're not gonna keep it around for your kids to drive it into the ground, sort of thing.
Oh, well, it's already driven into the ground.
I know, but they can. I was a teenager. I could drive a car. I could drive an old car into the ground. You know what I mean?
Right, really into the ground.
Like
Literally,
really just
wheels falling off.
grind the crap out of the gearbox and everything. Yeah.
Well, I drove my old Holden Vectra literally into the ground, where I took it to the mechanic. It just had endless problems, and he said he used the term death trap. When your mechanic uses the word death trap,
Yeah.
then
Didn't use that word
you
lightly.
know you've driven it into the ground.
That's right. Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Nice.
Oh boy. Anyway, I was coming, right. We just went to Canberra, so we're driving on the highway back last night, and yesterday morning, and it was super cold in Canberra, and we're talking about which
Wait a
new
second.
car.
Wait
Alright.
a second. What's super cold for you? Come on, give me a number here.
I will give you the number in a minute
Okay.
as I tell the story.
Suspenseful. Yeah.
Because
yeah.
that has to do with the temperature.
Okay.
Right,
all right,
the story
sure,
has
sure.
to do with the temperature, and so we're talking about the car and how it's 15 years old, and which one we're going to replace it with and everything, and we were hoping that it'd last this last trip. We're hoping that it'd hold
You got
together.
the tow
and
truck on speed dial.
yeah. We don't want to get a tow truck on the highway, like stuck in the highway in the middle of nowhere, right? Yeah. And so we're driving down the freeway, 110 k's an hour, none of this miles rubbish. And this warning, so we're talking about this, and then this warning message pops up on the screen with what looked like a gear symbol or something, and I go, I've never seen this message before, and I go, what the hell? Oh no, the car's finally died in the middle of the bloody nowhere on this highway. And it turns out, no, it wasn't the car dying, it was a low temperature warning message. Low outside temperature warning message, which I'd never seen before. I had no idea, because it reached 3 degrees Celsius.
Oh wow.
outside.
Okay. That actually is pretty chilly for there.
Yeah,
okay.
it's pretty cold. And it might be a combination, because I'm sure I've driven it in that sort of temperature before when I've gone to the snow, for example, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been that cold outside. Well, snowing kind of thing.
Yeah,
but
right.
it might be combined.
That's where they keep the snow, is the cold spots.
Yeah. So it might only trigger itself once you're over a certain speed and under a certain temperature.
Could be. Mine,
yeah.
mine gives me notices about just like iced highways and stuff like
Yeah,
that. but-
no. Well, I assume that that's what this is for. Like it's an ice. Although it didn't use the word ice, it just said low outside temperature warning, 3 degrees Celsius. Warning, Will Robinson. Yeah, so
Hi,
I
mate.
assume it's like a black
You're
ice thing.
Australian. Be careful out there.
You have no idea what this ice thing is like in
Yeah,
Australia.
right.
Yep. So yeah. Anyway, that freaked me out for until
You
we
gotta get out
figured
the
out what
manual.
the hell
Yeah.
that was.
Yeah.
Traveling down the highway, but yeah, the car didn't break down. But yeah, low temperature warning. And then I turned that into to bring it back to engineering. I turned that into a lesson on hysteresis for Sagan, who was in the car with us, and he
I bet he
so I
fell asleep
mentioned
very quickly.
No, I mentioned, I bet it's got some hysteresis. And he goes, what's hysteresis? Let me
That's
tell
like
you,
an
son.
after-school special there, right there. Yeah.
Let me tell you, son, I bet you.
Today's episode of Bluey is about.
I bet you, because it was it continually flashed at me, right? And I bet I bet him that it'd turn off flashing when it went back to 5 degrees Celsius. And sure enough, it did. And that's hysteresis. So I explained how
That is not
hysteresis
hysteresis.
What?
That is not just you being right about it going off at 5.
No,
It's
it's
not
hysteresis. It's the fact that it turned off. It would only stop flashing after it went back through the upper hysteresis level, dude, which was set at 5, which was set at some temperature, which wasn't 3, right?
Right.
So it might have been 4, but I guessed it was 5, and I was right.
Got
But
it. Got it. So it was just your
educated guess.
storytelling style here that I was taking issue with, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I explained how there's a hysteresis level at 5 degrees and there's one at 3 degrees, and it has to go below 3. And if it just suddenly peaks like 0.01 degree above 3, it isn't going
You
to
got to
switch
talk
off.
about power cycling. You got to talk about power cycling. Yeah.
What?
Cycling, or rather not power cycling, but cycling. If you don't have hysteresis, then on off.
Yes,
sort of
it'll continually trigger. It'll continually trigger on just based on the thermal noise, of the temperature sensor. So I explained hysteresis and how that works, and how they had a threshold at 3 degrees and they had a threshold at 5 degrees. Anyway, and demonstrated. It's quite an effective demonstration. He was quite impressed.
I think so. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Anyway, there you go.
I always think hysteresis curves also look like magnetic curves.
the BH curve.
Yeah, BH curve.
Yep,
That's it.
yep.
Yep. Yeah, I was watching Mr. Krasnow's recent stuff about magnetics. Did you watch that one?
No.
Yeah, Ben
Is there a
Krasnow
new one?
relatively new. Not super
Right.
new, but
Okay. Right.
yeah, he was doing like magnetic material. He was making his own magnets, of course, because why wouldn't
right.
you?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's really good stuff.
As you do. Yep.
I'll link that in as well, of course.
Terrific. Oh, well, very good. I think our amp hour's almost up. Are there any
think
any
so.
dregs?
I continue to do. I'm doing some Bluetooth stuff and making videos about it. If people want to check it out, I'll put some links in the show notes as well. And thanks to everybody who filled out the survey. I think next time, Dave and I
Yes,
will
we haven't
go
gone
over
through the survey yet. I've had a look at it, but not an in-depth look. Yep.
Yep. Alrighty. Have a good one, man.
Catch you next time.
See ya.